thought that it'd be fatal. Walking out that door, came back for seconds just to break you once more. And it was painful that you couldn't understand why I was unhappy.
I was invested, I would win over your parents, get a place in Los Angeles, both miss our families, but we'd make it work, we never made it work. We talked about forever, but this is all that we've got, and we said that we would change for the sake of us. Well, I guess we forgot, maybe we don't care enough. Yeah, we thought that it was brave if we stayed and figured it out, and if we swept all our pain into a shadow of doubt, and if we gave up, that would be the easy way out. But we're both better when we're not together. We're both better when we're not together. We're both better when we're not together. We're both better when we're not together now. We're scared to be this lonely, tangled in your web. Every lie you told me had me hanging by a thread. I had to let go. It wasn't healthy to pretend we were friends.
We were too different. I was such a free spirit. Never saw me getting tired of your tunnel vision. Couldn't make it work. Couldn't make it.
We talked about forever,
but this is all that we've got, and we said that we would change for the sake of us. Well, I guess we forgot, maybe we don't care enough. Yeah, we thought that it was brave if we stayed and figured it out, and if we swept all our pain into a shadow of doubt, and if we gave up, that would be the easy way out. But we're both better when we're not together. We're both better when we're not together. We're both better when we're not together. We're both better when we're not together now.
I like me better when I'm not alone.
We're both better when we're not together. We're both better when we're not together. We're both better when we're not together now.
Hey folks, welcome back. Oh yeah, take a lot of that lovely sounds coming into your earlobes right there. How was that? That was pretty stunning. That was Better, one of the previous singles off MCK's very recent album, or EP, should I say, Hot Sounds. Actually, that's how I should have introduced it. I should go, well, that was pretty hot, folks. So hot.
Yeah.
From sweating. I got rashes where there shouldn't be rashes.
Oh, no.
Now that I've told you, you'll see me walking funny and you go, oh, no, Daniel's been in the sauna again.
Oh, dear.
It's a summer album. It's a summer EP. It's a summer record.
It is, yeah.
That was Better by MCK featuring Wells. Artists were both featured before. It is off MCK's brand new EP, Hot Sounds, which is an excellent EP, by the way. And we're going to tell you to listen to it later. So hold that thought, and when we remind you later, you go, Daniel told me about that before, and he warned me he was going to say it. But the only reason why I say it is because I give it my seal of approval. I'm so happy to have the genius or the brains trust behind said record, MCK herself not in the studio, on the phone all the way from Auckland.
Yeah.
MCK, how you going?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
We're good. We eventually strung together a somewhat cohesive sentence.
Yeah, wow, that was a very interesting intro. I've never quite heard one like it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of a kind.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Try to be different.
Made an impression, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's like the old saying, dare to be different.
Yeah.
The landing may or may not stick, but at least you're different.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, is that similar to the philosophy you try, or when you're just you try and stand out in any aspect?
No, I don't think I try to stand out. I'd like to think that I'm sort of in my own lane, and what I make and do is uniquely me though, so hopefully that makes me stand out.
So you reckon you're more of a niche kind of person?
Yeah, I just try and do what I want to do, make what I want to sound like. I think when you're creating, it's really important to stay, as authentic as possible in what you're doing, and that way the music will always resonate no matter what.
So that's sort of what you try and bring to your songs, is it? Just that you just want to, you just really go with your gut feeling, you go with where your heart tells you.
Totally. Yeah, I try not to stay in one particular genre or anything either. I think I sort of bounce between different ones, and will definitely continue to do that throughout, what I do next. So, yeah.
Do you think it's important to mix things up a lot with your music?
Yeah, I think it's important to, go where the creativity goes. If it's not a forced thing where you're trying to make something specific, but if you naturally go there, I think you should definitely follow it and not try and stay in one particular genre or anything like that. But for me personally, I've always loved all sorts of different kinds of music, and have, I grew up with sort of a more folk country influence, and still have that sort of in me. And then as I've sort of grown, I've loved pop music a lot more, and then loved R&B and soul music as sort of my main influence and sonic kind of landscape that I work in now. So yeah, it's a real blend of things, and I think it might not be every artist's thing, but I definitely will probably make projects where there are a multitude of different genres sitting on the same thing. Yeah. Pop
country. You weren't a Swiftie fan back in the day, were you?
Such a Swiftie fan. I still am. I think she's great. Yeah.
I was going to say, she's done a bit of that, the just gone for broke as far as they're lapping up all the genres.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think the folklore phase was so authentically her, and just so different from what she's done previously, but I think everyone could tell that it was exactly what she needed to be making. So yeah, I think she's awesome.
If she was if she had a medal for every different style she'd tried throughout her career, she'd be like one of them North Korean generals, they got overloaded with medals. I see those pictures. They're they're wearing this big old shirt and then or a big old jacket or whatever, and they're just there's the medals are fighting for space on their chest.
Right.
Reckon it'd be like that.
I think it's good to challenge yourself and try different things. And she's always just evolved and transformed as she herself has probably personally evolved. So yeah, I think it's definitely something to it.
You were mentioning just before too about you got to go where the inspiration comes. So how often do you have to slap yourself every time you go, right? Or metaphorically, not physically. We're not condoning self violence, folks. That's not in my repertoire. But from a metaphorical perspective, how often do you have to splash the water on your face and go, right, Mackenzie, enough of this. It's not working. Let's move on to something else.
Yeah, I mean, there is a real art to moving on from an idea. If it's not moving forward in the right way or at the right speed. I'm a very I'm quite actively writing and collaborating with other artists now, so I have gotten kind of used to a pace of creativity that I sort of know when it's working and when it's not, so I can quite quickly be let's leave that behind and start something new or et cetera, et cetera. But for my own personal project, I like to give myself time in between, inspiration, and try not to push myself to make things when I know that there's probably nothing there.
Yeah.
So, and I think that comes with also being independent, I'm allowed to do that, which is really cool. Because, other artists might have deadlines and people putting pressure on, and I definitely put pressure on myself, but I think I'm very comfortable in where I am and what I've built for my artist platform, that I just know that it's not going to be good unless I just let it come.
Is that more, do you reckon you put that down to experience as well? Do you reckon that,
Yeah,
that
a little
scale
bit,
has
for
been,
sure.
yeah, do you reckon that skill's been fine-tuned over the years?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, it has been, and I think it's also just me knowing that I never want it to be, a chore for me to be creative. And to be honest, like this last week, I've done a lot of sessions and just like being super creative, and I'm feeling like massively drained from all of that, and know that I actually need to not be creative for a little bit now, just to energize myself and like re-inspire my brain, because it does get quite exhausting giving so much energy to that creative process. So I definitely think it's a skill, and artists that are just starting out can get really burnt out by trying to create too much or too frequently or something way too specific. Like it can, it's hard because music is such a unknown phenomenon when you create. Like there's no formula or definite moment where you make something. It's all just little decisions that you make that eventuate into a final product. So it's a hard thing to navigate.
I was going to say, you don't get like 5 hours like, which chord fits here perfectly? The F minor major 4/7 suspended 6.
No, yeah.
I think it's time for a break, folks.
Yeah. It literally could be anything. No decision is wrong with music, really.
I was going to say, with that, you mentioned like you're talking about having an exhaustion. It's a bit like, is it a bit like that sort of exhaustion you feel after having a really good workout session? It's a good exhaustion. You feel like you've accomplished something. Yeah,
for sure. It's like you've just had like a massive weekend drinking, and it's like a really bad hangover, except it's not quite the same. I don't know, it definitely feels like a music hangover, to be honest.
Just an overindulgence in
it is.
And just thinking about sounds.
Just exerting so much outward energy trying to push something along. And because I do so much of it now and working with other artists and stuff, it's really like a lot of energy. It's not just like a normal job where you can like sit down and know your disciplines and like get work done. It's like you have to just immerse yourself for hours, just hours and hours, and trying to, tap into emotional, worlds and like sonic worlds. And it's quite intense, really. It's It's not easy.
That would have to come too with what you were saying before about the fact that, you haven't got your deadlines. You're your own boss. You're independent.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I was going to ask too on that, thing you were saying there about tapping into different emotional worlds, so to speak, which I think for the layman's terms, the less flowery term is basically like you're trying to find inspiration for these songs, essentially. So, I mean, when you're doing that, do you have to go, right, here's my mental list of every emotion I've felt. Let's go through through the phone book of emotions. A is for apathy, B is for bravery, C is for something or other. I don't know. You got to go through that, like that alphabet.
It's not so much like emotions that you're feeling. It's more just something that's been on your mind. I feel like is the normally the thing that sparks the most creativity in a room. But when I mean like tap into emotional worlds, like especially when I'm working with another artist who maybe isn't that experienced in songwriting or doesn't quite know where to start in a session, digging for that spark of inspiration can be quite hard. But normally it's just about like having a conversation at the start of the session and just being like, what's been happening? How have you been feeling? And is there, something that's just recently happened that's on your mind or made you feel some type of way? And normally that sparks something. So
you should be getting these artists to pay you as a therapist as well, I feel.
Literally,
sit down.
It's very much emotional therapy. Yeah.
Show me on the teddy bear where it hurts, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very, it's a kind of interesting sort of method to go through. And do you find that ends up, do you find that, you know, have to take a bit of time, especially maybe these artists that you haven't worked with before, don't know you that well. You have to sort of, I guess, break that barrier a bit before you can really find the juicy material that gets those good songs.
Yeah, for sure. There's been, you know, 2 artists that I've most recently started working with, and it maybe takes like an hour or so before they start trusting you a little bit, and like leaning into your experience and what you can contribute. But yeah, you're right. Like in terms of just getting to know them, it is good to even meet them beforehand, or like just spend the first half an hour to an hour just chatting and getting to know each other, and that normally breaks down those barriers. But I've always said, as a creative and as a songwriter, if there's another person that's in the room that's a songwriter and you know, you're just meeting, there is this kind of like instantaneous transparency that is quite present in the room, that I've always found. I actually haven't really been in a room with someone that I haven't felt that with, because I think songwriters know what it's like to be vulnerable, and they accept that part of themselves. So when they see somebody who is the same, it's kind of quite easy to, you know, transactionally pass back and forth your emotions, which is quite incredible, and something that I love about the music world. So yeah,
I feel like there's only one way to expedite this process, and that is just provide people with food. Cook them something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example that your good Kiwi brethren would understand. I don't know. Bake them a plate of lamingtons. Go on. The extra coconut sprinkles. Different ones, give them a choice. And the cream in the middle. It's like a bit of jam as well. It's like, here you go. Here you go. I've provided you with food free of charge. Now open up. You know, literally and figuratively.
No, don't want to force anyone to open up ever, but like hopefully I make them comfortable enough to do it.
No force feeding.
No force
feeding of your patients. I mean your co-writers.
Co-writers.
I was going to say, there's an interesting duality there though on what you were saying. You know, there's this idea that potentially, it's important to get that, you know, that mutual respect going and have that rapport already. Yeah. Or it could be a case of, you know, songwriter, it's more important to not have that overly attached emotional attachment with that person you're co-writing with, to be able to spill out these things you normally wouldn't be able to say to someone that might be closer. Do you find that there might be a difference between the two, or whether you find that both of them can work?
I'm sure that like there are songwriters, especially like more traditional songwriters that like focus on structure, and not that I don't focus on structure, but just like who are paid to walk into a room and just write a good song, and that works for them. For me, I don't think I ever want to go into a room and not connect with the person that I'm writing with on like a deeper level before trying to make something for them, because that just comes down to like, you know, for my own music, I never want to write something that doesn't feel deeply attached to my own personal experience. So I wouldn't want to like not give that to somebody else for their own music. But you know, you're right. There are circumstances and there are artists that are okay with that and just want to focus on, I don't know, how it sounds or their like, you know, visual side of things, or like whatever it is. But for me, walking into a session, it has to be about the music and about the connection to the actual artist and who's singing it. That matters the most.
Yeah, that's fair. And look, if that were like, and it's great to hear that sort of emotional attachment is the prerequisite to writing. It's a really genuine thing, I think, to have.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the EP as well. I think that's probably important, seeing as, you know, we're kind of here to chat about it.
Yes.
This is not your first EP, is it? This is your second EP.
It's not. Yeah, it's my second.
How did you find coming into this one compared to EP number 1, which I see you put out last year, Confessions. What was it like coming to the second one?
Really different. So the first one I spent like a year and a half on, and I self-produced it. So it was pretty much all me working on that EP, and it was super just like quite painful actually, like to finish, because I was very much just coming into my own as a producer, and like lent on a few friends and stuff to sort of get me through to the other side. But also the songs on the EP were quite super personal and a little bit darker than the sounds that are on this EP. So after I was finished with Confessions, I was like so ready to like leave it behind and create something a bit more lighthearted and a bit more fun. And I was also really keen to work with another producer again, obviously. And when I met Josh, it was just a really good fit, and he's, you know, so experienced as a producer and a really incredible pop producer. So I feel like my influences and his sort of background just matched really well, and we just wanted to love what we made, and we just didn't really overthink it, which I think you can sort of hear in the project. Like it's that all the songs are kind of, you know, quite free spirited, and yeah, that's because we just had so much fun making all of them, and they all kind of fell out really naturally. So,
well, I was going to say, was this somebody that you'd known already? Was Josh someone that you already had been in contact with, or was this the first time you'd sort of had that connection?
Well, I'd heard about him through a mutual friend of ours, and he was working with them, and had heard one of his songs, Underwells, so Picture on the Wall, and really loved that song. Yeah. And then I reached out to him before we started working together and said, "Do you just want to do a session and see what happens?" And he was keen. So we got in a session, and that was the first time that we met. And we didn't. The song we did wasn't very good. And then we had a second session, and I brought him a demo, and that ended up being Tell Me, which is the first song on the EP. So from there, it was super. We were in sync, and it just worked.
I was going to say, it's like the metaphor there is like when you open like a tap that's outside that hasn't been used in months. Yeah, and just like you get this coppery sort of smelly water come out. It's a bit like that first. Yeah. That was your first song, and then you get this nice
100%
clear, beautiful water come out next. Incredible.
To be honest, I'm surprised it was only one bad water song. So yeah, it was good.
I guess that's a testament to like your dedication to this record and his talent.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I mean, you must be pretty happy. I mean, I know this is a stupid question. You're going to answer, I'm never going to get an answer. Actually, I'm jumping myself here. I'm going to ask this question one day, Mackenzie. Someone one day is going to say, "So how happy are you with the outcome of this EP?" It's shit.
I don't think I'm going to say that.
Yeah. It's like that'll be the day that I pay out someone as a bet. It's like, I'm never going to get that answer. But genuinely, it sounds like you really are proud of this record.
Yeah, I'm so proud of it. Yeah.
Do you find that this is a record that you can sort of not rest on your laurels? I mean, it makes it sound like you're now retiring, but what's the word? You can sort of, well, I guess it is rest.
Songs.
There's come on, Daniel, get off your high horse.
Yeah,
I want to make the triple album now.
Yeah, literally.
When's that coming out, Mackenzie? Come on.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
But I mean, because I'm just saying in terms of what you were saying. Well, it's in terms of what you were saying before when you said of your reflections, you were very keen to move on to the next project.
Yeah.
Whereas this more of a project you can sit back and reflect a bit more. I guess that's the better term to use because it sounds more, analytical.
Like this project also took like a year, so it did feel like I was sitting with the songs for quite a long time, and I always feel like once I release something, it kind of leaves me in a weird way, like it's kind of like not really mine anymore. So I think, and I'm sure all artists probably feel the same way, but I definitely go straight into thinking about what the next thing is going to be. But it's crazy, like even just talking to you about it, like it's definitely left my mind a bit, and I'm having to like like put myself back into the Hot Sounds world. But it's been really great because people are kind of responding really well to it, and that's really awesome. And it's also really fun because we can play the songs live and we've got live music in New Zealand, and we can sort of take it to the audience, which I haven't done in a big way before. So taking Hot Sounds to that world is going to be really fun for me, and I can sort of chug away in the background at whatever's coming next. But yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of music being made, so it's just going to be about figuring out how that all comes together, or what it looks like, how big the project is, and also how much it's going to cost me, because it's very expensive to and we've got great funding here in New Zealand, so I've been really lucky in the past and got great funding from NZ On Air, so I'll just be hustling away. I've got amazing collaborators on the next stuff, so I'm excited to put it out eventually, and maybe sort of drip feed it a little bit, so you might get new music sooner rather than later, but we will see.
So eager to move on to the next thing. We're not even at the end of the interview.
Yeah, totally.
You're jumping ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I know. No, I just do you know what? I think I'm just always making stuff, and you always, the best thing that you make is always the last thing that you make. So the Hot Sounds feel so far away from me, and those songs were made over a year ago, and it's I know it must be so interesting and introspective for the listener to be like, but we just heard this, and you just put it out. It's well, we've been sitting on it for a while, so yeah,
something
but
people
it's really
don't realize.
Cool to have it out. Yeah, it's really cool to have it out, and it's nice that people are enjoying it.
Well, I mean, you have had the chance. I see you played on March 4 to launch the. I guess it was to launch it. No, did that not happen?
No, we had a lockdown that week. So I'm about to play
lockdown
in about a month. I know.
Am I right?
So my show got postponed.
Okay,
and it is going ahead though. It's on the 29th of April, so it's about a month away now.
Oh yeah. Oh nice. We'll hold that.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say you haven't had a chance to play them live yet. So you.
Yeah. That's going to be, I played the songs at Rhythm and Vines last year, but this is the first headline show that I'm doing to actually celebrate the release.
It's
so that'll
not
be
really
really
the
fun.
same, is it? Because people wouldn't have heard the songs before you'd play them.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not the same.
So now people have time to sort of, and they've had a while now.
Sit with them.
Just stew over it, develop their favourites, over-critique it.
Yeah.
Tell you where you're slightly off by a quarter of a half semitone in that one song,
Sure.
It's really, but no, that should be a lot of fun. We'll get back to that in a sec. But what I was going to ask was, it's not so much what I was asked. It was more of an observation I had when I was having a listen. I don't know if this was intentional on your end or not, but I got the feeling that the EP sort of detailed a bit of a relationship going on with its sort of, and please feel free to interrupt me if I'm looking into this way too deeply. But I felt it was almost either consciously or subconsciously detailing a relationship of some form that you'd contrived for this EP, where you can clearly see the journey that's going on, and by the time you get to and for the second half of it, it's sort of showing the breakup and the aftermath of it. Better, which you just heard, is clearly a breakup song, and then Tripping Up, you're talking about the ex and that sort of thing, and it's sort of reflecting on what has happened in the past. Am I getting in the right ballpark here, or are we way off?
I really like that you found that sort of connective tissue, but I'm really sorry to break it to you that they're not all connected. They're actually, so Tell Me and Muse are about two different stories, but Better and Tripping Up are about the same story. So you're sort of onto something at the end there. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing. If you can find as a songwriter that the inspiration behind them can be varied. They can be different sources for that inspiration, but when the songs come together, you can find a different meaning to them.
Oh, for sure. And I think the storyline from start to finish, as you say, is kind of it starts out on this kind of fun, kind of free-spirited thing, and then it goes into that sort of admiration phase, and then you start to realize that you're not good for each other, and then you can't move forward because you haven't healed from, that relationship. And it is a whole story. So I definitely maybe did do that kind of intentionally in terms of placing the songs where they are, but the reality is they are kind of from different experiences.
I was going to say, you said you were trying to be more lighthearted on this album, but that's a depressing end. Come on.
I know. It was more about like how they were made. That was really lighthearted, but yeah, they're still quite dark.
You're talking superficially. Of course. This is pop music, guys. We don't look past the first layer.
I know.
If there's any irony, you're not supposed to get past the what do you call it? I can't think of the word. The outer appearance, let's say,
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think I've always been, more of a storyteller, and I think Confessions was kind of reflecting those sort of songwriter-based stories that I love, and then bringing that into Hot Sounds. It's kind of like, yeah, we can put these really cool sounds and layers over top of it and make it sound really tidy and really pop, but there's still real stories underneath them, which is something that I'll always do.
Yeah, so I was going to ask too. Well, no, I wasn't. That's not going to flow well. All right. Yeah, let's talk about the production for a sec, because you're talking there about layering a lot of production on top of these sort of stories. So
yeah.
Was that the intention from the start? Like, did you go in with Josh? That's his name, yeah? That was the producer's name?
Yeah, Josh, yeah.
Yes, I remembered correctly. How good of me. So did you go to Josh with a very clear idea of what it would sound like at the end, or was there a lot of, trial and error when you did get round to, drafting the record?
No, there wasn't a lot of trial and error. Like I did a lot of little like demos, a lot of the sort of initial production ideas across all of the songs except for Better, which was one that we both started together, and we were in the same room and Josh just started it.
Yeah.
But we honestly, we didn't talk about wanting to make a specific sound or anything. I think it's just his influences, blended with my influences, and we just worked well together in creating what we wanted to hear. And it wasn't, there wasn't like an intentional play for a specific type of production or anything. It just kind of came together the way that it was supposed to, I think. But yeah, he's obviously very pop driven, and I'm a bit more R&B driven, so it just kind of became the blend of those two things.
Was there something he suggested? Can you think of a good example on there that he suggested that was something that you might not have thought of? I don't know, a particular sound, instrument, some element that you wouldn't have thought of. Yeah,
sorry, ask that again, just the start of that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Was there any element of that record? Can you think of a specific example that Josh did suggest that you wouldn't have thought of that actually really made one of the songs tick or work for you?
Yeah, for sure. So in Muse, in the chorus, there's like this little, I call it a snake charmer sound.
Oh, yeah.
It's like dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee. And he added that because I had done quite a bit of the production on Muse already, and he added that into the chorus, and now that is probably my favorite little sound on the whole EP, and it just makes the chorus what it is. So he definitely added he added so much across everything, but that was one sound that I definitely was just that's why I'm working with him, because he's able to just elevate everything that I do so much. So it's the snake charmer sound.
That was snake charming. Nice. Just that's what I call proper fluff. Works well.
Yeah.
It's just bits and pieces that you don't necessarily need, but they just hit the spot when you do hear it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I mean, because you've talked about how people have received the songs and you're excited to play them eventually later next month, or well, actually, as of release, it will be this month. But But I was going to say, is any of the songs, have you been getting feedback about a particular song over the others, or has there been more attention that you've found people are drawing towards one of the songs?
It's an interesting question. I mean, people love Better.
Yeah.
And I know you said to me earlier that you really like that song. And I think that's kind of the hero of the EP that people have gravitated to the most. But Trippin' Up also, like, it was this sort of single when the whole EP dropped. And it's my favorite, just because it's a bit more R&B driven. And it's sort of, we are sort of seeing, you know, that song kind of pick up a little bit. So I think Trippin' Up, but Better, people are just like, it's a bit of a classic for them, I think. And Josh is obviously just so amazing. So yeah, probably between those two.
That's pretty cool. Like, and yeah, I probably agree. They're probably my two favorites as well.
Yeah, so, well, that's cool.
I mean, you know, I guess we're all on a consensus here. It's like some sort of subconscious, you know, neural link making us all think you're awesome, you know.
Well, you got to trust the audience to a certain point as well, you know. And sometimes I feel like artists sometimes like drop whole albums and then they'll just wait to see which song that people like the most and then put that out as like a single, which, you know, is an interesting strategy. I might do it one day, but you've definitely got to like trust the listener a little bit as well as your own like instinct. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you reckon that can, like, a better perception of your audience can come with experience, or is it just a case of, I don't know how the fuck that works?
I don't really know how that works.
The general public are a real wild beast, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And that's why you sort of have to take it with a grain of salt. But like, also when you start building a, you know, audience and a community, they do sort of know, you know, when you're at your best, I think. So yeah, it's an interesting balance.
Oh, at least they'll let you know when you're not in the comments.
Yeah. Do you know what? I haven't had like bad comments since I was 16. I'm just like,
nice.
Touch wood. I don't get any, you know.
Nice.
'Cause I used to.
That is, yeah, well, I mean, it was a wild world back in those days.
You know what? Yeah, I think people are kinder online now.
Yeah, you reckon we've grown up a bit?
In general, we have, yeah.
You reckon you're starting to like restore a little bit of faith in humanity?
Yeah.
What's been, because I know if people can look into it, and you were mentioning to us beforehand that you've had a lot of history with music going back, and you can go and read up on that. Apparently, it's out there in the ether if you want to go and look up about your history, what you did with, you know, back a decade ago. But you've been in the industry for some years now, look, about a decade or so properly.
Yeah.
Now, since you have gone independent, has there anything that has surprised you about what you can achieve that you wouldn't have thought you would have been able to do yourself, that would have required some form of major label presence?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, when I was 13, it was, like, the ultimate dream to be on a label or, like, going to America or, you know, playing shows in, you know, LA and New York and stuff like that. And it was all just, like, this really picturesque kind of thing, but it's just so not real. And I think as I've, you know, as you say, been in the industry for such a long time now and established my own platform kind of independently, I've come back to the actual reason why I want to do it. And it is about the music and it's about connecting with people. And that's always been kind of the most magical part of it for me. So I think it's just about being so much more self-aware of you know, my intention of my art and how like magical it can be when you connect with people that you don't even know through your stories. So yeah, I mean, I had so much to learn when I was younger, and I've definitely grown up a lot, and I took like 4 years off doing no music, so that was definitely a really important time for my growth and just figuring out, you know, what real life is, because I was certainly not quite there for a while. Real
life's an important thing, you know.
It's very important, yeah.
It's like, you know, you do all your living in it.
Yeah, you do all your living in it. You need to learn how to like manage, you know, money and get a job and
taxes and shit.
all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, oh yeah. Let's talk about it because we mentioned before the show you've got upcoming, and I like it when the show hasn't happened yet because we can hype it up. We can tell people that are around to go and buy tickets to it. So tell us about what date is the show, by the way?
The date is the 29th of April.
29th of April.
So that's a Thursday. And it's at a bar called Whammy on K Road, which is a pretty iconic strip here in Auckland. And I've got Josh playing a set. So Wells is doing an opening set. And then I've got another artist called Adam Snow, who's kind of more R&B soul, and he's going to be amazing. So he's also doing a set before me, and then it'll be super fun. We can finally celebrate the release, and hopefully we're in the clear for the rest of the month.
Breathes heavily, fingers crossed.
There's always that just like slight doubt in the back of your mind, but it'll be fine. I think we're good now.
That's good. That's good. And shout out to Wells too. Of course, Josh, your
massive
producer.
Shout out to Wells.
How good is he? He's a great musician as well.
He's such a great musician. He's actually just released a little EP as well, like last week or
nice.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, so if you want to give that a whirl, you should.
I'll have to keep an eye out. Nicole.
Yeah.
Has Nicole sent it to us? Oh, no, I haven't looked at the emails lately. I've been really slack. I'm still trying to get through like a 4-week backlog. Come on, Mackenzie.
Right.
Give me a break.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
You're not the only one that's being overworked here.
Yeah, true.
But that's so awesome. It's April 29. Is there like a Facebook event? You've got the promo, the links all up on your socials.
Oh, yeah, it's everywhere.
Ah, brilliant. And speaking of socials, we can find, I'm guessing, them on you on all the major sort of places people hang out, Instacook,
normally
Facegram.
Normally MCK Music is where you'll find me.
Twitter Talk.
Yeah.
Tick.
No, I'm not on
chat.
TikTok.
Tick
No,
chat.
I'm not on TikTok. No.
TikTok, okay.
No.
Has anybody ever tried to TikTok to one of your songs yet?
Yes, I think so. But I'm just not really across it. Okay. I know I should be. I think it's becoming too big of a thing now that I definitely should be across it. But yeah, I'm resisting. I'm being part of the resistance.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The anti-TikTok coalition.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, honestly, if you're in Auckland on the 29th, go and check it out. Thursday shows are the best.
Yes, please.
Thursday shows are great.
Yeah, totally.
They're underrated because the drinks are always cheaper. There's usually always a drink special.
I'm not sure if that's true.
Well, we're trying to hype up the show. I can't fact check any of these.
Will be cheaper.
Big disclaimer: you can't fact check any of these sentences, so I can't guarantee whether any of them are correct. But
no.
But go and check it out on the 29th. Is there a door charge? The ticket prices? Do people need to bring money?
You can buy tickets online.
Nice. And how much are the tickets?
I think they're like $14. So there's no excuses.
And
it's so cheap.
And how many South African rand is that for people?
I have no idea, Dan.
So 14 proper Kiwi Lamington laminated bucks.
Yeah.
What colour are your $10 notes over there? Are they also blue?
Blue,
They are blue. You guys have colour copied us.
No.
You guys are always copying us. What is this?
Nah.
Okay, you can keep denying it, but you can't come over here and show me. There's a good ocean between us. Unless you want to try and kayak the distance. I don't know.
Nah.
Okay.
I'm sweet. I'll stay here for a bit.
Fair enough. Enjoy the show too. It sounds like it's going to be
Thanks so much.
time. Have so much fun. And honestly, best of luck with everything this year. Hope you just up yourself every time, Mackenzie.
Thank you. Cheers. Appreciate that.
We're going to play the new single, "Trip It Up."
Yay.
So what do you like to what do you normally trip over? Is there like a piece of footpath outside your house?
Trip over? I am actually quite clumsy, so I trip quite regularly. But in terms of the song, it's a bit more metaphorical.
Okay.
Yeah, but
it's an
I trip
emotional
over-
trip up.
I can trip over nothing at this point. Like, I just trip up over myself most days.
Okay, yeah. You don't ever trip yourself over when you wake up and you realise you forgot to set the alarm and it's 2 hours after you said you were going to get up?
Yeah, I've definitely done that before, yeah.
You know what? I buggered up the other day, and you're going to find this funny. I was cooking on the stove. We have a gas stove at home, and I was there because like these sides of this pot are metal, so they get hot. I had the mittens, these like mitten things on holding the side. I had the mitten a bit too low towards the gas, and I started smelling smoke. I'm like, that doesn't smell too good. Looked up, and my mitten was on fire, literally. I was like, oh, shit. Ran it under the cold water. Everything was fine. It looks a bit blackened and half burnt through, but should be right.
That's fine.
So that's why I trip up over, I trip up and smash all the kitchen equipment, all the kitchen utensils,
Nice.
Yeah, I break a lot of things.
Yeah, you're a tripper.
I'm a tripper, yeah. Sounds a lot worse than it is. Actually, no, smashing shit in the kitchen's not good, even accidentally. That was an interesting tangent.
Interesting tangent, yeah.
Tripping Up, along with the rest of the EP, Hot Sounds is out now on, I guess, all the streaming sites.
It is.
Brilliant. Go and give it a spin and give Mackenzie some good vibes in the comments.
Thank you.
Keep that good vibes coming. We don't want to break this. We don't want to break the
don't want to break this
10-year streak or whatever it was.
Yeah, streak. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. MCK, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. No worries.
I hope you enjoyed my stupidity as much as I enjoyed embarrassing myself.
Yeah, it was a ride. It was a wild ride.
That's what it's all about. Tell the good folks that are listening right now what song we're about to go on and who the hell you are.
Well, my name's MCK, and this song is called Trippin' Up off my new EP, Hot Sounds. And I hope you love it.
Yeah, hit it.
It's more than just a phase, making all the same mistakes, pointing fingers in my past when I'm the only one to blame. My bad habits, they run deep, need help rewiring my brain. No, something has to change. I can feel myself tripping up over my ex, tripping up over my feelings, tripping up over my healing, tripping up, can feel myself tripping up over my ex, tripping up over my feelings, tripping up over my healing, tripping up. Now I'm breathing in the smoke every time I try to move on. I'm poisoned by the history we share, the aftermath of you. And the angel on my shoulder lost her voice along the way, couldn't tell me how to change. Can feel myself tripping up over my ex, tripping up over my feelings, tripping up over my healing, tripping up. Can feel myself tripping up over my ex, tripping up over my feelings, tripping up over my healing, tripping up. Can feel myself tripping up over my ex. When I look back at this mess, wishing that I had just left, I put myself first instead.
AustralianMusiciansRadio.com